These rock faces of Dhauli, this mighty land that spreads far and wide, a land that was once drenched in so much blood that it transformed the vision of a ruthless king and made him believe in a new religion. In this rocky land, so many people were killed, mutilated and massacred. So much violence was inflicted that even its perpetrators were revolted. But in the midst of such brutality, humanity slowly started to flower. Despite the violence, flowers of non-violence began to blossom, rising above mountain cliffs, dark forests, raging rivers and oceans, to spread themselves beyond these borders. From this sacred land, the sound of a new humanity reverberated across the world.
All human beings are my children. What do I want for my children? I want their well-being, their happiness. In this world and in the world after this. This is what I wish for all humankind. Perhaps you cannot fathom the depth of my desire. And even if some of you may understand this, you would still not completely comprehend the intensity of this desire. I am a symbol of that very sound of non-violence, which has tied the entire universe with one cord, the existence of which means the existence of humanity. And that is the true definition of brotherhood.
Emperor Ashoka's historic journey began with his grandfather, Chandragupta Maurya. By the end of the 4th century BC, the country's political governance was fragmented. The country was divided into villages, castes, and princely states. Different provinces, different rulers, different laws and regulations, different types of governance. About 70 years later, in 329 BC, the young Chandragupta Maurya, under the guidance of his guru and advisor, Kautilya, rose in revolt against Raja Nand. Although his military strength was less than that of Raja Nand's, the political strategies of his guru Kautilya proved effective against Raja Nand's army.
Listen, Chandragupta. If you want to completely destroy Raja Nand, you will have to work with patience and do exactly as I tell you. If a starving man wants to eat hot khichdi from a plate, he must never put his hand in the center, for this will not only burn the hand, but also the mouth. And he would also have blisters in his stomach. Chandragupta, start eating the khichdi from the corner and gradually move towards the center. Without harming yourself, then you can eat up to the last morsel. This is how you must gain victory over Nand's kingdom. If you walk on the path that I tell you, then the time is not far when sovereignty will surely be in your hands and you will be the master.
Chandragupta began to walk the path outlined by Kautilya. Skirmishes began in the border areas, with the goal in mind of taking control at the center. And soon the province near the banks of the river Ganga came under Chandragupta's control. This also happened to be the time when Alexander the Great left India, and Chandragupta took full advantage of his departure. He continued his advance towards the northwest, and after bringing some provinces swiftly under his rule, he reached the river Indus. He looked at the areas beyond the Indus, but they were ruled by Alexander's general, Seleucus Nicator. Chandragupta turned back towards central India and took control of the states north of the river Narmada. But the desire to rule the areas beyond the river Indus still agitated his heart. In 305 BC, he attacked Seleucus Nicator. After a long drawn-out battle, Chandragupta was victorious. When he defeated Seleucus, he controlled vast lands of the Sindhu, from Bengal to the Hindu Kush, from the Himalayas to the river Narmada. All the lands were now under Chandragupta's rule. A new age, a new ruler, had sprung from the seed of a small plant. A kingdom had morphed into an empire, and the vast Mauryan Empire was established. It is said that towards the end of his life, Chandragupta Maurya became a Jain monk. He bequeathed his empire to his son, Bindusar, and left with Jain munis towards the south. He followed the Jain rites of anahara, or fasting, to end his life. After Chandragupta, Bindusar took the reins of the Mauryan Empire and took his dream of spreading the empire even further. He attacked the south and extended the Mauryan Empire up to Mysore. He conquered all the lands between the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea and brought them under Mauryan rule. The chariot flag of the victorious Mauryan Empire flew over a vast Indian landmass. Most of the subcontinent had come under Mauryan rule, but one key territory remained outside his control. It was the eastern state of Kalinga. Kalinga, independent and unconquered. It had not allowed the formidable Mauryan chariots to cross its borders. The flag of Kalinga still flew on its well-defended border. One of Bindusar's many wives was called Dharma. From her womb, the future Emperor Ashoka was born. It is said that Lord Buddha prophesied the birth of Ashoka.
Such a king will be born on this land, who will be victorious and will hold the flag of Dharma and spread the views of Dharma far beyond these oceans.
So Ashoka's birth had been long awaited. The youngest among many brothers, Ashoka was extremely intelligent. He understood the teachings of his gurus quickly and showed prowess in the use of weapons. How to protect oneself from the enemy's attack, how to put the enemy at the end of one's sword. He had already mastered all this in his childhood. Practicing the art of warfare, he often defeated Susim, his elder brother.
Oh, incredible Ashoka, my son. Susim is your elder brother, and older than you in years. But in front of your unbelievable prowess in the use of weapons, he seems too small. Both of you are very dear to me, my son. You are the grandson of the great Chandragupta, and in you, I see the future protector of the Maurya Empire. Under your care, the Maurya dynasty and empire will be as secure as a child is in the lap of his mother and the shadow of his father. My son Ashoka, the time has come when I should take a step back and leave the care of a part of the empire on your shoulders. Begin to take an interest in the royal duties, my son.
Bindusar involved his son in the administration of state affairs and showed great faith in his abilities. But his father's profound love and increasing attachment towards Ashoka made Susim anxious.
I am the eldest among my father's children. I should be the one shouldering the royal responsibilities. But these are being put on Ashoka's shoulders. This attachment of my father towards Ashoka, doubts assail my mind.
While Susim was anxious, Ashoka was doing his duties with devotion and patience. His valor, intelligence, and uncanny ability to govern saw his popularity increase greatly. Ashok's fame and his ability to administer many regions increased Bindusar's faith in him. On the other hand, Prince Sushim's hopes of becoming king were threatened, and being the heir apparent, he began to see Ashoka as an adversary. In the remote northwest region of Takshila, increasing dissatisfaction was brewing. Fighting between soldiers had begun. Many different soldier groups had sprung up in the region, and their internal tug of war and discontent put Takshila in grave danger. Susim saw this as an opportunity to send Ashoka far from his father, and he took full advantage of Takshila's situation to fulfill his sinister motives.
The increasing anarchy and discontent in Takshila has put the Maurya Empire in danger. Takshila's provinces are harboring deep animosity towards each other. There is infighting among the troops. If this is not curbed, the day is not far when Takshila will revolt against the Maurya Empire. If grandfather Chandragupta's empire is to be saved, Takshila's revolt will have to be contained. Amongst us brothers, only Ashoka is capable of doing this. That's why I request you to give the order for Ashoka to leave for Takshila at once.
Bindusar ordered Ashoka to leave for Takshila to end its growing anarchy and discontent. Unaware of his elder brother Susim's devious plans, Ashoka left for Takshila with a big army and traveled the great distance from Patliputra to Takshila, which is today's Sindh in Pakistan. The people of Takshila were well aware of Ashoka's reputation, bravery, and administrative abilities. They looked forward to his arrival in Takshila with great anticipation and excitement. Ashoka received a grand welcome. Not a single horse had to gallop onto a battlefield, and there was no clash of swords. Without any bloodshed at all, peace prevailed in the land of Takshila. The arrival of Ashoka and his undisputed political abilities quelled their internal disputes without any warfare. When the news of his success at Takshila reached Patliputra, King Bindusar beamed with pride. His love, attachment, and faith towards Ashoka increased even more. This was a cause of grave concern for Susim, who felt his sovereignty was being threatened. Now, removing Ashoka from his path became Susim's sole objective. Susim began to fill Bindusar's ears and did everything possible to turn him against Ashoka. Knowing Susim was the heir apparent of the Mauryan Empire, his animosity towards Ashoka began to worry Bindusar. He sensed great impending danger in the near future. Bindusar decided to send Ashoka on another campaign. Ashoka was asked to fight in distant Ujjain. Ashoka understood his brother Susim's devious plans and was overcome with anger. But stifling the raging fire in his heart, Ashoka left for the battlefield.
The sovereign of the Maurya Empire, my father, has sent me a message. My father asks me to return because a dangerous revolt has erupted in the empire's province of Ujjain. My own brother fills my father's ears and turns him against me. And then my father wastes no time at all in giving me deportation orders. What relationship is this? Is this invitation only due to the fact that my brothers are not brave enough to crush this revolt? In that case, Prince Susim has no right to rule over the people of the Maurya Empire. A king who does not understand the emotions and needs of his people has no right to call himself their ruler. Yet again, my heart is overwhelmed with anger and remorse. I will go. I will definitely go to Ujjain. The Maurya Empire needs me.
With all his skills, confidence, and armed forces at his disposal, Ashoka left to curb the revolt over Jain. A fierce battle ensued, and Ashoka's army prevailed. The revolt was suppressed with countless insurgents killed. The Mauryan Empire's shaking foundation was strong once again. But in this battle for Ujjain, Ashoka was hurt. Doctors were asked to attend to him. One of these was Devi, a Buddhist nun, who took care of him day and night devotedly. It was through Devi Ashoka was introduced to the Buddhist faith. The precepts of his dharma touched Ashoka's heart. He greatly valued Devi's proximity and care. And later, because of her attraction to him and his growing attachment to her, he married Devi. While Ashoka was involved in war-torn Ujjain, in Patliputra, his father Bindusar was fighting for life, almost near death. Both father and son had been fighting their own battles. Both had struggled for their victory. Ashoka emerged the victorious warrior in the Battle of Ujjain, but Bindusar lost his battle. Death had triumphed over his life. Far from Patliputra, the news of his father's death confronted Ashoka with another challenge. Clouds of doubt began to rise, and a turmoil of sadness and anger went through his heart. Important questions began to trouble him. After all, at stake was the future of the empire.
Fathers no more. I will have to return to Patliputra. Grandfather Chandragupta and Father Bindusar's large Maurya Empire's future had the dark clouds of uncertainty hovering over it. Should I allow the rule of this Maurya Empire fall into the weak hands of my elder brother Susin? Should I go far away from governance and go to the dark jungles? I can see the destruction of the Maurya Empire evident in Susim's hands. Oh, time. You have brought me at such a crossroad. My life has become a series of battles and ups and downs. There is no escape from this.
Ashoka was deeply worried about the future of the empire. Many questions pounded his mind, and he was full of torment. Just then arrived a group of ministers led by Radhagupta, who held Ashoka in high esteem. Radhagupta believed Ashoka should be the future king. The Mauryan Empire's future would only be secure if its reins were in the hands of a ruler like Ashoka.
If struggle is my fate, then I will fight. I shall fight relentlessly to uphold and protect Grandfather Chandragupta's definition of an empire. This fight is to protect the pride of the great Maurya Empire, and whoever will come in its way shall be ruthlessly killed. To protect the Maurya pride is my primary duty. If my brothers, my relatives come in its way, let them do so. Pick up your weapons. Let loose the horses. Whoever dares to challenge you, finish them. Let pools of blood flow. Let's march towards Patliputra.
It was a horrifying carnage. Blood flowed in rivers, and countless people were killed. Finally, Ashoka wore the Mauryan Empire's prized crown on his head. The bitter struggles of his life had turned Ashoka's soft heart into stone. A heart that had no room for pity, and all traces of compassion were erased. As soon as he ascended the throne of Patliputra, Ashoka had to fight even more battles for the sake of his kingdom. When this saga of endless battles ended, there was still one state, Kalinga, which remained outside Ashoka's suzerainty. Independent Kalinga was just not willing to accept subjugation. Most of the princely states of India had come under Ashoka's domain. From Bengal in the east to the Krishna River in the south, the entire area was under Ashoka's rule. According to Kautilya's Arthashastra, Patliputra in those times was one of the biggest cities in the world. It had a population of more than 5 crores. With victory after military victory, Emperor Ashoka became one of the most powerful rulers in the world. But Kalinga remained the only northern state that resisted the might of the Mauryan army. On one side, Kalinga was a verdant landmass. On the other side was a port that anchored the seaways. So from both political and strategic standpoints, Kalinga was important. With his foresight, Ashoka understood how crucial it was to conquer Kalinga, and even more so if he wanted to establish his rule in the south of India.
If I have to make the Maurya Empire indivisible, then the seaways have to be brought under control. These seaways can pose a huge threat in the future. Kaling will have to be brought under our rule. Conquest of Kaling will bring victory over both land and the sea routes. Kaling will have to be won at all costs.
So Ashoka proclaimed war against Kalinga. Ashoka's cavalry and his army surrounded Kalinga on all sides. Heavy fortifications were made, and Kalinga's contact with the rest of India was cut off. Ashoka was confident that Kalinga would soon concede defeat. But the citizens of Kalinga were a proud people, with an independent spirit which prized freedom more than life. Kalinga became the epicenter of a great war, and there was enormous bloodshed. An epic battle was fought as Ashoka's horsemen galloped into this land of Dhauli. More than 1.5 lakh people were taken captive. Many lakhs were ruthlessly killed, and millions were wounded. The Kalinga War became the biggest bloodbath in India's history. A tragedy defined by such cruelty and barbarism that humanity was shamed into tears and great remorse. Conqueror Ashoka's victorious procession finally rode into Kalinga. However, the great emperor did not find flower petals adorning his path. He was welcomed by mounds of mutilated bodies and women wailing in mourning over their dead husbands. His royal parade was muddied with the blood of dead bodies lying in endless piles, with vultures, wolves, and jackals circling and howling in chorus. Ashoka was overcome with sorrow, compassion, and enormous regret.
What is this that I have done? I had stepped out with great pride that the land of Kaling would embrace me like a victorious king, shower flowers on me, and anoint my forehead with sandalwood and kumkum. My God, my forehead, instead of being anointed for victory, is smeared with a mix of mud seeped in blood. In my grand welcome are carpets of dead corpses, heaps of mutilated human limbs. Jackals and wolves sing the song of victory. The air is heavily laden with the stench of dead bodies. Is this the land of victory? Is this the grand conquest I was longing for? Oh,
What have I done? If this is victory, then what is defeat? What should one call this? Victory or defeat? Justice or injustice? Bravery or cowardice? The killing of innocent children and women qualify as bravery? Was this my idea of an empire's expansion? Someone's husband is killed and someone's father. Children were killed. Wombs were attacked. There were heaps and heaps of dead bodies. What did I do? Is this the symbol of triumph or the stench of defeat? These vultures, eagles, and crows hovering above are messengers of that barbarian's death who committed these heinous crimes. Will I ever find peace now? Oh God, grant me refuge. All I ask of you is solitude and peace.
Saints Upagupta and Manjushri lovingly put their hands on the forehead of the distressed Ashoka and led him away from the path of violence towards a new path, non-violence. Emperor Ashoka gave up violence and made non-violence his religion. He took the path of Lord Buddha and was given the title Devanapriya, Priyadasi, beloved of the gods. Kalinga, where Ashoka had fought his most important battle, now became his heart's most cherished land. Near the river Daya of Dhauli, which had once been red with bloodshed, on whose banks stood Dhauligiri, Ashoka built many stupas and chaityas and erected pillars with messages of peace inscribed on them. These edicts herald a humane society, its laws and ideals. Ashoka endorsed the ideas of dharma, and his path was that of non-violence. It was not limited to just humans. Violence against animals and other living beings was also curbed. The idea of vegetarianism was encouraged. Differentiating on the basis of caste and creed was banished. Public welfare and public interest became the mantra of his rule.
I have had banyan trees planted on roads, which shall provide shade to animals and people. After every 9 miles, there are mango orchards. Wells have been dug. Rest houses have been built. And I have done all this so that my subjects behave as required by the Dhamma.
To promulgate the values of the Dharma, he appointed Dharmadhikaris, or prelates. To spread the principles of Dharma far and wide, he sent messengers of peace to many parts of the world. Ashoka's messengers went to Sri Lanka, Nepal, Thailand, Egypt, Syria, and Macedonia to propagate the idea of non-violence and to spread the teachings of the Buddha. In 232 BC, after almost 40 years of glorious rule, the great Emperor Ashoka left for his heavenly abode. However, the eternal legacy of his message of peace and his political wisdom remain relevant to this day and continue to spread light in darkness. Ashoka was perhaps the first ruler who truly understood what it meant to govern a vast empire in terms of public welfare and public good. He propagated the Buddhist concepts of non-violence, love, and compassion. In Dhauli, a Buddhist stupa and the sculpture of an elephant symbolizing non-violence stand to this day, and the message of the great Ashoka resonates as a universal sound, for it is the eternal sound of peace.